Welcome back. Another day, another dog attack. 4 people were mauled by an out-of-control dog believed to be an XL bully in Hounslow, West London yesterday. This happened just hours before the ban on XL bullies came into force. It is now a criminal offence to own the breed in England and Wales without an exemption certificate. The dogs must be neutered, they must be kept on a lead, and they must be muzzled when out in public. They must be microchipped, they must be kept in a secure place so they cannot escape. Police have warned that unregistered pets can be seized and owners fined and prosecuted. Join me on the programme, Sir Robert Goodwill, the MP for Scarborough and Whitby, and Dr Roger Mugford, an animal behaviourist. Let me start with you, Sir Robert. Do you think that this is the right way to proceed? And do you think that people with XL bullies will be compliant and will do as they've been asked to do? Or do you think this is going to be a difficult one?
Well, it's absolutely the right way to proceed. Our committee is a cross-party committee, and we all agreed that the government was taking the right action. And indeed, we have an SNP member, and the SNP have followed suit behind England to bring in similar legislation. And the facts stand up for themselves. We were maybe getting 1 or 2, maybe 3 dog deaths a year. That went up to 23 over just over a couple of years. And more than half of those were these XL bullies. So they are very dangerous, as people can see in that clip. People are being killed. Other dogs are being attacked, of course, and that's without even looking at the injuries. So I think the government's done the right thing. We've had 35,000 registered, and I hope that's most of them. But anyone who hasn't registered is certainly committing a criminal offence.
And what of those who haven't registered? If they're found to own XL bully dogs, what happens to them?
Yeah, the dogs will be taken away from them. They could be prosecuted. People have plenty of notice. This has been very well publicised. And as I say, 35,000 of these dogs have been registered. We're not quite sure how many there are in the country, but the vast majority, I think, have been registered and will be able to be, I think, try and keep the public safe, at least when they're outside. Because I would be very concerned if say, one of my grandchildren went to play at somebody's house where one of these dogs were, and they can turn. It's like having a ticking time bomb in the house. So I think yes, we can protect the public outdoors with muzzles in this way, but actually in the home there could still be further attacks, I'm afraid.
And I'm sure you know, Sir Robert, the same thing doesn't apply. The same restrictions don't apply in Scotland. And in fact, I presented a programme the other day on TalkTV speaking to some chap who's spending a great deal of time driving XL bullies up to Scotland and releasing them to willing Scottish owners so they can have a life of liberty, haggis, and and smell the Scottish heather and have a wonderful, tranquil time in Scotland, and rather than being, as he saw it, persecuted, restrained, restricted here in England and Wales.
Well, Scotland have now brought in their own similar legislation because, as I was talking to SNP colleagues in Parliament, saying you're playing a very dangerous game here, because if these dogs are going north of the border and somebody gets killed by a dog that's actually been exported to Scotland, then the Scottish administration will have to bear some of that responsibility. So I'm pleased that the Scots are now following suit with England. In due course, they will have the same registration scheme.
Sir Robert, thank you very much. Let me talk to Roger Mugford about this. Hello, Roger. So nice to see you. I used to have you on my BBC radio show all the time, but never got to see your charming visage. So how nice to see your face after all these years.
It is. We won't talk about foxes once.
Well, you always talked about about foxes in urban environments, didn't we? And whether they had suddenly acquired the horrible characteristics of the people that they met in our big cities. But tell me about XL bully dogs and whether there is something uniquely dangerous and violent about them.
The unique thing about them is their size. We're talking 40 to 60 kilos. But in that respect, they're no different than a whole bunch of other breeds. The Dog de Bordeaux, which is a big French foppy breed, bloodhounds, who knows, Great Danes. And any of these breeds will have some individuals that are aggressive and can bite and are difficult to control just by virtue of their size. But we see as many aggressive Dachshunds, dare I say, Jack Russells, Old Collies, but because they're small, they go unnoticed and the injury from their bites are less severe. But banning a breed is a wrong way to go about it. Sorry, Dr. Goodwin. The British Veterinary Association today came out with exactly the same view as mine, that any dog can be dangerous. Owners have to be helped to train their dogs not to be dangerous, and if in doubt, of course, put them on the muzzle. And seek professional advice. But There's nothing uniquely special about an XL Bully, except that it's a very poorly defined. That's a horrible muzzle that dog is wearing, by the way. It doesn't provide any degree of protection to any person that it might want to bite. The answer is not in focusing on a particular dog. It's to focus on all dogs that might be dangerous, and focus on all owners who have a certain responsibility to keep their dog under control in public places.
And yet we'd never heard of these dogs at all. Now we hear about them all the time. Every single time, it seems, really without exception, that we're going to be discussing the ban, there's some kind of attack by an XL Bully dog that takes place in exactly the same day, and we always make it part of the introduction to the subject. We never are saying, and we haven't heard anything about attacks from XL Bully dogs, and here we are banning them. What a shocking thing! Just as I said today, there've been 4 incidents in Hounslow yesterday. So these XL Bully dogs, they really do have some reputation, and they've earned it pretty quickly, haven't they?
They do, but if we recounted every attack by a German Shepherd, by a Border Collie, then the media would quickly get tired of it. But it's a fashion, and the fashion is only a ridiculously designed dog that's very unhealthy, that has poor joints, breathing difficulties, often eye problems, that is poorly defined in many of the dogs that are being registered as XL Bullies under the new legislation, which of course I want people to adhere to and to obey. That many of them are not XL Bullies, of the sort that would be promoted, bred and sold at ridiculous prices on the internet as recently as months ago. And now they're unsaleable. They're all being dumped on rescue societies, literally dumped in the countryside and let loose, because people don't have the will or the money to comply with the law. Awful things will arise from banning. And the police officer responsible from the Police Federation, responsible for enforcement of dog laws, actually said that if you see your neighbour or someone passing in the street with an XL Bully and they're not complying with the law, inform on them, tell the police, and we'll deal with it. And that's awful, I hate to draw the attention to Nazi Germany, but there's a Jew around the corner, go get him, go get this dog from these people. As I say, the law is unenforceable because it's poorly defined on what is an XL Bully, and really we need attentive laws, sympathetic treatment, and educational services, which are freely available through dog trainers and the like, for any dog of any size and of any breed.
Let's just see. Sir Robert, are you still there? I wonder whether you would respond to that.
Of course. Well,
Yes.
I mean, these dogs are. We had the same situation a generation ago with the pit bull terriers, and that breed was banned. And it's interesting. People are now saying, "Oh, we can't define the breed." But when my committee went to the Battersea Dogs Home, we were shown a litter of puppies, and they were described as XL Bullies. When many people have bought these dogs off the internet, the parents that are shown and quite clearly XL Bullies. So, it is fairly straightforward. And if anyone has a dog that they're not sure, then the advice is to register them beforehand. And then if that dog doesn't grow up with these characteristics, then they can be deregistered. But of course, many people actually buy these dogs because they're intimidated, because they're violent. And we hear about drug dealers and organized criminals having these dogs to frighten people, and sometimes to use them deliberately to attack. So they're not suitable as family pets. They've been bred for their aggression, and yes, a poodle is as likely to bite possibly, but these dogs are very powerful. Once they actually get hold, as we've seen from the statistics, people are being killed, and we have a responsibility to protect the public, and these dogs are dangerous.
Dr. Roger Mugford, I hear you have a dog there with you, and you were going to show us kindly how you would go about muzzling the dog.
I have a dog called Dave, and he's actually an escapee from South Korea, where they, as you will know, eat dogs. So he's an escaped, and I'm going to ask my assistant to show just fitting a muzzle. Now, this is a muzzle for any breed of dog and comes in many different sizes. And how to fit a dog to wear a muzzle, how to fit a muzzle to fit a dog, I should say. And Dave. So first of all, have some tasty material to hand. And then he puts his head into the muzzle, and then you fit it, and away you go. So the muzzle that was shown earlier on what probably was an XL Bully was not properly fitted, wouldn't offer a degree of protection. So Dave is often used as a stooge for demonstrating equipment that I've designed. But if you've ever been attacked by, as I have, by a trained Belgian Malinois, they are very persistent, very strong, very powerful, and so is a German Shepherd. And the injury that could be inflicted by one of those dogs, be it trained to do so or simply being of a suspicious character, is
So
just
have you put the muzzle on or not?
No, okay, I'm going to put that.
So you're going to put it on and show us how to do it. That was the whole point.
Okay,
Let's have a look.
Ready. And
Okay.
there you have. Yeah.
All right.
So, unfortunately, we don't. No dog was injured in the making of this film.
Good.
And he fixed it absolutely beautiful. So, a lot more people of all dog types that they own are buying muzzles on the back of all this publicity about XL Bullies. To an extent, that's a good thing, because muzzles should be worn when dogs go into stress.
All right.
Stress
Thank you
public
very much,
transport.
and thank you for showing us that. Appreciate it.